What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we are back again with another deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at Robos. So coming out of Clan Collection Volume 5-6, we did receive this great Daiyusha reverse over here, which is honestly a really great card. I think that it's kind of pushed this deck to where it needs to be overall, and just at least makes it a little bit more competitive, just with that extra swing, that extra force marker, and maybe gives it that little oomph it needed to actually be competitive within the meta. So I know a lot of the shortcomings of this deck are still existing. This didn't patch absolutely everything, but I feel like there is a cohesive strategy here, and there is a build that's a little bit different than the norm overall, and I'll explain that as I go along. So yeah, let's hop into the deck profile. Alright, before we begin, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. Definitely appreciate it. We're at over almost 1,400 subs now, so I can't believe it. Thank you guys so much in advance. And if you guys are interested in purchasing any of the cards you see here today, we do have a TCG Player affiliate link down in the description below. Really helps us out. Thank you guys so much in advance for using that. Absolutely no cost to you. Help support the channel. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Alright, hopping right into it with the grade 3s right here. We're going to start off with the main, the boss. They're all kind of like boss units, but this is kind of like the last edition of the flow that you want to go into. This is going to be Dark Dimensional Robo reverse Daiyusha. So as it reads over here, auto from your hand. At the end of battle, your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Dimensional Robo in its card name attacked. If all units that attack this turn have Dimensional Robo in their card name, you get to counterblast 1 and then ride this card as stand, and until the end of turn this guy gets drive -1, and you cannot ride by card effect. So you can't go into it again, kind of looping itself, CB, CB, ride. But overall, there is a combo that we can get 3 different attacks with your Vanguard off, and again, each one of those attacks is kind of generating another force marker, which is awesome overall, creating insanely powerful columns that is just so hard for your opponent to guard unless they have a PG. Its second skill, act on Vanguard Circle. Once per turn, we lock 2 of our rear guards with Dimensional Robo in its name, and then choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, gets -10 until the end of turn. So I'm going to tell you right now, I personally believe that's a little bit of a trap. If it's there and it's like very abundant, sure, go for it. But overall, I feel like a lot of people fall short with this deck when they try to force that skill. I would say kind of, if it's naturally there, like I said, just go for it. But if not, don't worry about that -10. When you're swinging at them with 3 times with your Vanguard, that's like 50k, 60k, 70k, whatever the case may be, you're putting on a lot of pressure overall. And I think that in this deck, you're not losing drive checks on all those swings. I'll show you how in just a little bit, but overall, I feel like the pressure from that is worth a little bit more. And if you have to sacrifice too many cards from hand, you can start to slip away. And because of that, I actually don't run like the full Dimensional Robo package in here. I'll show you obviously as I go through, but I'm running 4 of this guy. That guy is super awesome. Kind of shows the finishing play, and maybe I'll do a test stand at the end to show you guys how this really plays out. But next up over here, this is one of the 2 main ride targets that you want to go for on your first grade 3 turn if you're actually trying to aggress them and actually make sure that you're just trying to push for game as early as possible. This is going to be your target to ride into. This is Super Dimensional Robo Daiyusha. So this has been around since the last clan collection. Its skill continues on Vanguard Circle. If this unit is 35k or greater, this guy gets an additional crit. And then auto on Vanguard front row, rear guard circle. At the end of battle, at a grade 3 was revealed for a drive check. Essentially, if your opponent called a Sentinel, you just counterblast 1 and then ping them a damage. So this can be gotten around if they drop down 2 Sentinels, but then again, you got 2 Sentinels out of their hand. If this guy's on rear guard, it's pretty plus in my opinion. So it does have that threat, A, on the Vanguard Circle with that extra crit, and B, over here with the extra ping that it can do. And then this, at the end of if this guy's on rear at the end of that turn, you just put it into soul. And then lastly, over here, when this unit is rode upon, call this card to front row rear guard circle, get an imaginary gift force, put that on your Vanguard Circle. So if you want to, just heads up, you have to put this one on Van. If you want to start spreading around your markers, you can do that with the ride ones, but just not with this skill. So overall, I feel like you do kind of want to go into this because you are going to be swinging. You don't have to dedicate a lot to your hand to get that 4 attack off, or you can potentially go to like a 5 attack kind of deck with calling this guy to the front row, but you don't always want to do that. So you would go into him, boom, swing, potentially 2 crit, really nice. Then just counterblast right on top of him, pop him out, get another force marker. Now you can potentially have 3-4 kind of force markers on your first rides, because there's a grade 2 that gives us a force marker, you rode, gives it a force marker, this guy's going to ride, gives you a force marker, and then he gives you a force marker. So that's 4 force markers on your first attack, and you're not really going to get another Vanguard attack out of that. But overall, maybe it's like a 40k, 53k kind of column. It's just 1 drive check, but overall, it can put them in a position that they really didn't want to be in. And I really do like that. I like this kind of combo to open up with. If you're not trying to damage deny, this is the combo to go into. I know a lot of people run 4 of this guy, but I think at 3 of it's fine, and we do run something else, and I'll show you why in just a little bit. But next up over here, we're going to be looking at 3 of the original Daiyusha. So I know this is a really expensive card at this point. It hasn't been reprinted. VR reprint rarity thing going on, I think, at the end of 2022, so maybe we'll see this guy on the chopping block for that. But ultimate dimensional Robo, great Daiyusha. Its skill, auto and Vanguard circle. When placed, 3 of your front row units get an additional 10k until the end of turn, so that includes himself. Not only does he gain a force marker, gains an extra blanket 10k, and that lasts even if he's away, so your other 2 units on the side will still see that 10k. That's fine, because it's till the end of turn. Its second skill, auto from hand. At the end of the battle, your grade 3 Vanguard attacked. If that unit's 45k or greater, and it was placed during this turn, it was not placed during this turn, counterblast 1, ride this card to stand, and this guy gets an additional 10k until the end of turn. So again, just really beefing yourself up, which is absolutely nuts. Not losing drive checks on this either. So if you're doing this whole combo first, right? First turn was going into that, going into this. Next turn, you know, just swing with this. Boom. I'm going to now go into Great Daiyusha, counterblast, get an extra 10k on him, and then boom, get an extra 10k to my front row, so that's an extra 20k on top of the force marker. And then after I've swung with him, so that's 2 Vanguard swings, I'm going to then activate one of these from my hand. And the nice thing about this too, since you're not losing drive checks, like if you don't have one in hand, worst case scenario, you drive check one, like that's great. You know, you can potentially get off one of his skills with the you know, ping them a damage with counterblast if they guarded. Also, you know, you can actually fish for him through the drive checks, and having that second one sometimes, you know, it has saved me. It has, you know, just appeared there when I didn't have it in hand previously, so you can still activate it off of that if you drove check it. So making that 3 attack, not something far-fetched. Like, I know a lot of decks kind of, you know, say, oh, I have the potential to do this, I have the potential to do that. It feels pretty consistent in this deck overall, and it really is your bread and butter, and it's really like a very routine play, so definitely want to be building for that. And then there is something alternate you can kind of go into as well. This is going to be 2 copies of Super Dimensional Robo Dieliner. So I know a lot of people have cut these from their build, and I understand, but just hear me out on this. I think this actually still is a decent play in the deck overall if you are trying to damage deny, and let's look at that right now. Continues on Vanguard Circle, all your rear guards, grade 3 rear guards, grade 3s, units, just get an additional 10k, so you can, you know, get a little bit more shield out of your hand. It is what it is. Act on Vanguard Circle also once per turn, counterblast, soul blast 1, and then look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 normal unit from among them, and then put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. If you revealed a grade 3 unit, this guy gets an additional 20k plus a crit until the end of turn. So what I like to do with this, like if I know I'm trying to damage deny and just like, you know, my opponent's at the point where there's just like a deck I don't want them to have a lot of counterblasts, I'll swing with this guy over here, and I'll just, you know, it's 2 crit at that point. You know, let's say they've taken 2 damage, I'm swinging for another 2 crit right here. I know they gotta go to 6, but overall, you know, you can hit 1, 2, you know, maybe they don't want to go to 5. I feel like this is decent for the damage deny play. If it goes to the point where, yeah, you are now at, you know, let's say they PG'd this, like it is what it is, that's fine. Like I just passed turn, they don't have counterblast to work with. If you also do swing, they let it through, you know, you only hit 3 on that, so you're there at 5 or whatever. You can still go into the regular play right here with the reverse Daiyusha, so don't be afraid to just go right over it. I know we're going to lose that 10k thing, but if you damage denied your opponent and you want to save some of those grade 3s in your hand, maybe you have an abundance of them or whatever, you could just start guarding out. It is an option. I kind of do like the search and the damage denial at times. It's completely up to you. You don't have to run this. This is good for if when you don't have things in your hand that you really need, you know, being the Great Daiyusha, being the reverse Daiyusha, but overall you can cut this and maybe up some of the other ratios, the other 2 grade 3s that are running at 3 if you really want to. But I do like this. I would say try this out, and again, this build is a little bit different from that from a typical one, so I would say try it before you deny it. Getting into the grade 2s now, we don't have anything too crazy, kind of generic, pretty generic overall, except for 1 card I guess I haven't really seen recently. But Dimensional Robo Kaizard is no surprise. Auto, when this guy is rode upon by a grade 3, discard a card from our hand and get an imaginary gift force, and then put that marker onto your Vanguard circle. So again, you have to put that, so if you really want to, you know, ride and give a force marker somewhere else, you can do that. Just make sure this one goes on Van. Continues on Rearguard Circle. During your turn, if there's a force marker on your Vanguard circle, this guy gets 10k. And if there are 3 or more markers it gets an additional 10k. So 30k total by itself, not really needing that extra force marker necessarily, is really nice. And we make sweet numbers in this deck like kind of effortlessly, which is why I'm personally not huge on like the reverse Daiyusha lock and then, you know, neg the 10k kind of skill. Overall, I think this is definitely a necessary evil. You do have to discard something from your hand, and I'm running a little bit more draws, spoiler alert, to kind of mitigate that. I just feel like, you know, after a certain point, discarding stuff feels really bad. So discarding that little 5k, you know, after you already hit the draw off it, doesn't feel too bad. So I do like this card. I think it really does help our strategy kind of propel it forward. It's kind of a double-edged sword in some scenarios, but just make sure that you're playing it right and you'll be fine. Next up over here, still running 4 of this guy. All your grade 3 units, I'm sorry, this is Dimensional Robo Die Dumper. Continues on Vanguard Circle. All of your grade 3 units get an additional 10k. So you can, like you said, kind of, or like I said previously, kind of guard out a little bit with your grade 3s, making them not absolutely useless. And then its second skill, auto, when this unit attacks on Rearguard Circle, you may have it get 10k and then until the end of battle. If you do, retire this unit at the end of that battle. So just, you know, vacates your front row. Sometimes, you know, Narukami wants bind, this, that. It makes it a little bit easier to get around that. Just making yourself kind of get a sweet number 2 with that extra 10k is pretty big sometimes. So overall, I do kind of like him. I think that at 4 of, it's just, you know, it is what it is. Maybe there's something that'll come out that'll replace it. But right now, it does have that Dimensional Robo name. It's not a bad card overall. So just running it at that 4 of. Next up here, I'm actually running 2 of Platinum Ace, and I will say Platinum Ace is really like the MVP of this deck in so many ways. Again, I'm not huge on the whole like lock thing, minus 10k, when this guy's already going to give himself 10k and a crit. There's other stuff in the deck that kind of buffs itself up, and I know, you know, the compounding effect of the negative plus this over here would be great, and there's times where you still do hit it. You're kind of giving yourself that option because we still run a lot of Dimensional Robos, but overall, I do like this card. And this guy over here, Platinum Ace, been around for quite a bit now in V-Series. Really solid card. Continues on Vanguard Circle. During your turn, this guy gets an extra 5k, so a 15k base when it swings, and then its second skill, auto on Rearguard Circle once per turn. When it attacks, if your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, yeah, Vanguard is 30k or greater, Soul Blast 1, and this guy gets an additional 10k and a crit until the end of turn. So again, buffing yourself up. If you know later into the turn that you're not really going to get your Vanguard swings through, put force markers on him, start to buff him up, give him the triggers, gives himself that extra 10k, gives himself that extra crit, and can really put your opponent in some dicey situations later into the game, even early on too. Puts a lot of pressure. So I really do personally like this this guy. It's really effortless at this point to get that 30,000 kind of on your Vanguard. It's pretty much free. It's pretty much guaranteed almost every single turn, and we don't really use a ton of Soul Blasts in this deck, so it doesn't feel too bad. Next up, getting into the grade 1s, we are still, like I said, running some of the Dimensional Robos over here, and as such, I'm going to run 4 of Dimensional Robo Die Scooper. So auto, when this guy is rode upon, look at 7 cards on the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 grade 3 from among them, put into your hand and shuffle your deck. Really good for searching out what you need, you know, find your ride target, find some of that additional attack coming down from hand later on, totally up to you. Auto, when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, if your grade 3, if your Vanguard is grade 3, well, if when placed on Rearguard Circle, one of your grade 3 Vanguards get an additional 5k. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't read that really quick, but just giving yourself that extra 5k is important on the what is it, the Die Kaiser, to hit that 35. I think that you really do hit 33 pretty easily, but as soon as you want to get to that 35, this guy really helps us to do it. So not too bad overall. Still has that Dimensional Robo name, and like I said, because this isn't like one of the lock kind of skill builds, I am actually still running 3 of our Twin Order. So Twin Order really helps mid-turn. Your opponent has to start calculating. Let's go over its skill first. I'm sorry. Twin Order, auto on Rearguard Circle. When it boosts, one of your Vanguards gets an additional 10k for until the end of turn, for each of your force markers. So swing with this boosted, boom, your Vanguard swings. That is going to be an additional 30k, like whatever it is, 30, 40, 50, 60k, just making impossible numbers like PG numbers or a die kind of situation for your opponent. I still think without the whole lock situation, like, you're fine with this. If you do start to, you know, flood the field with things that you want to lock, you know, he becomes a little bit useless, but still a 10k in hand is not terrible. I personally do like this guy. I think that it's just one of the most amazing skills in the game, like right now in V-Series, so hard to kind of pass him up in a Dimensional Police deck. I know a lot of people have cut him overall, but I still like that. It makes your opponent think a little bit harder now with guarding patterns a little bit later into the game, and just honestly changes things up just a little bit. So I do like that at 3 of. I think it is still decent. Next up here, we're going to be running 2 of Cosmic here at Grand Rope. So still just the top 5 searcher, digging a little bit deeper into your deck, trying to get some of those good stuff. You know, again, ride targets, you know, additional attack targets, whatever the case is. Grade 3s are how this deck kind of lives or dies. And plus, you know, you can search out the grade 3 heal guardians too, which could really help you survive a little bit later into the game and mitigate like an early rush. Next up, last up over here, actually, this is going to be 2 of this guy. This is going to be Eternity Chaser. So again, not a huge package for Dimensional Robo, but overall, I think this is just a little bit more useful overall. When this guy is rode upon, we get to discard a card from our hand, choose up to 1 grade 3 normal unit from your hand, reveal it, and if you reveal the card, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 card with a different card name from that rune that you revealed, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So discarding kind of sucks, but overall, if you need to fix your ride target, like, you never want to be on the Great Daiyusha. There's been times where I actually have ridden it that I just wish I had Eternity Chaser to go search my correct one. That's, you know, it's a guaranteed loss if you're going to ride into the Great Daiyusha first. Just don't do it. So overall, I do still like this, and its second skill is like the real zinger: auto back row rearguard circle. When your opponent's rearguard attacks at that unit's 25k or less, Soul Blast 1, retire this unit, choose one of your units, and does not get hit until the end of that battle. So, you know, little pokes here, there. You know, we don't run a lot of Soul Blast. We don't really care about this guy's name either, so we can kind of ditch him from our field and it's fine. You know, what is an AK booster to us? We don't really care. So it kind of helps you get rid of some of those little pokey attacks that may have done you in and you just don't have the shield in hand to kind of guard. So I do like that at a 2 of. Cool. And then lastly, we are going to, of course, be running Daiyusha over here. Dimensional Robo Daiyusha. You know, you have to. It's a Dimensional Robo Police deck. You have to go for it. So no question there. Cool. Let's pan out and get into the triggers now. All right. Like I said, we are actually running a little bit more draw. So I'm running 6 crit. I'm running 6 draw, and I'm running 4 heal. So the reason for it, I feel like I kind of explained it before, but to the regular 5Ks, I just kind of like overall the getting a little bit more draw into my hand, getting some extra cards does feel better, especially in a deck that's kind of fragile. I feel like you need to kind of band-aid that somehow. Those 5Ks don't feel bad to discard for Dizard or whatever, the grade 2. I feel like at certain times it just really helps us get key pieces into our hands. Like we're like a big combo deck at the end of the day, and we want to make sure that we see the right cards in our hands in order to kind of just complete our ride chain, complete our attack chain overall. So I think that running the extra draws doesn't feel too bad for me. If you want to bump them down, totally go for it. You know, up to you. I've seen people run 5, seen people run 6. I'm trying out the 6. I don't think it's too bad right now, but cool. Let's hop into a test hand. Actually, I do want to demonstrate this deck, and then we'll get yeah, we'll just get right into it. Alright, I thought I recorded this before, but I guess apparently I did not actually hit record, so I want to go actually edit this video, and none of this footage was here. So we're going to redo a test hand over here. It's really the first time you're seeing it, but overall, like I said before during the deck profile, I don't think this is like the tier 1A kind of deck that, you know, it almost might read as on paper, but overall it's a solid deck, and I think you can get away with sneaking a lot of wins off of a lot of unsuspecting people. It has first turn kill potential, very slightly, but it is there, not as much as some of the other decks in the meta right now. I really think that V in general, you can typically get to maybe like two Vanguard rides. I want to say against Steam Maidens, probably you could, like, if they go first, I don't know, it's a little tough, but if you went first, you can probably survive their first onslaught, but overall you have to make sure that you're farming for them. So we got a 1, 2, 3, but I think I'm just going to put, honestly, I really want to dump this whole hand almost. I want to keep the grade 1, but let's put 3 back over here. And this is our hand over there. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we didn't get great cards really from our hand, but that's all right. There we are. All right, let's pray that we get a grade 3 normal unit here. That way we can actually ride up properly and whatnot. This is actually going to be a pretty tough one, but we are going to stand and draw here. We're going to ride. We're also going to draw. And you know what? I am actually going to go straight into this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to add the Daikaiser to my hand. There we are. Okay. Let's go here. Okay, we're going to then discard a card from our hand. Unfortunately, just going to discard a little bit of shield right here. We are next up going to pass it over to our opponent, take a damage. Okay, stand and draw now. So now we are going to just go into this guy right here. We are also going to reveal this guy's skill. We're going to reveal the grade 3 over here. Go search our deck for another grade 3. I'm going to, look at that, nice and convenient. Find the other grade 3, then I discard a card from my hand, I believe. Okay, let's just double check that. Here's card. different card. No, I actually don't. Yeah, I was gonna say. Wait a minute, I don't actually do it. Okay. So next up, we are going to swing into our opponent here. We're not gonna do anything else too crazy. There we are. Drive check. Nice. So we got that guy too. This is actually pretty decent. We actually have a decent hand for this. We're gonna take 1 damage. Boom. Power. Draw. So that kind of shuts off our opponent's turn. Let's say. Next up, we are going to stand and draw here. We are unfortunately not going to be able to ride the Daiyusha, but that's all right. We're going to go over this guy right here. We're going to gain 1 force marker. Let me grab a force marker real quick. All right, let's put that force marker on my Vanguard circle first. Here we are. We are going to then... What else do I want to do here? I am going to play the Daiyusha, and I'm going to... Also going to play... Yeah, just the Twin Order, I think. That's how this is going to go down. We are going to... Let's think about this, because I'm only at 23 right now. I would be 23, and then this would be a 13, so that would be a... Actually, 36. Yes, this would be swinging. Yeah, let's boost this, sure. We're going to swing in. This is going to be 36 at my opponent's Vanguard. It is 2 crit over here, which is actually pretty nice. First check, let's say they let that hit. Crit power. Boom. Second hit. Nothing. Okay. We are then going to skill. Counterblast 1 from our hand. We are going to ride into the Great Daiyusha reverse over here. And we're going to pop this guy then out of soul. We're going to gain 2 markers off this. 1 from the ride. 1 from the Daiyusha skill over there. Let's go do that. Do I have 2 extra force markers? We're going to start calling other markers forces if I don't have necessarily. I just grabbed a random pile of markers. So we got 1, and then we got 2 over here. This is just going to be a force marker, sorry. Okay, so we got that now. So now we are going to go, anything else that I want to do super crazy? Not necessarily. I got 3 markers on my Vanguard, so this is a 30k base. 30k, plus I put the power over there too, so that's 40k, 48k at my opponent's Vanguard. Another 30k goes to my Vanguard right there as well. And then next up, I'm going to just single drive over here, but this is going to be 43 plus 30, this is 73, just 1 drive power. Let's say I don't heal off of that. It's just, a little bit tough for my opponent. And I'm going to give the power over there. I can counterblast. I have the counterblast open to ping them a damage if I really want to. Let's just go into my next turn over here just to show you guys like the ultimate Daiyusha ride. That is possible if I drive check one of the reverses. So let's take a damage for their turn. Take another one. Whoops. Let's take a third one. Let's just go to 3. All right, we got power now. We're gonna guard. We're gonna guard. I'm gonna guard now. And let's just say that ends their turn. We are going to stand now, and we are going to draw. All right, we got another dude. That's fine. We are going to not ride over here. We are not going to activate the skill of the reverse just because we have 2 different named units over here. And again, I kind of prefer like the burst of power from Twin Order. You can put in more the dimensional Robos if you really don't like it. But let's swing in over here. This is going to be 43 at my opponent's Vanguard twin drive. First check. Oops. Second check. We do get the reverse Daiyusha, so this is perfect. We will be able to kind of pop off and use the ultimate Daiyusha right here. So we're going to counterblast 1. We are going to ride this from hand. Whoops, it's easy. Drop that. And there we are. So we're going to ride. We're going to get another force marker. You can put this on Van. You can put this elsewhere. It's really up to you. I think I might just keep it on Van though, because we're going to get another Vanguard swing out of this and just create a little bit more power overall. It makes it a higher pressure situation. And then all my front row units get an additional 10k. And then since this guy is, this guy also gets another 10k from itself. So front row 10k, 10k. It's 20k. 1, 2, 3, 4 force markers plus that 20k is 60k plus that 73. I can choose to boost, but I think I'm just going to do this 73k. I'm swinging twin drive over here. I'm going to go first check. Let's say they PG'd this one. It is what it is. Let's put all effects over here. Second check. Boom. Power over here, let's say, and draw. All right. Next up, we are then going to counterblast 1. We are yet again, yep, you guessed it, we are going to ride into that. And now this time I'm actually, since I have a ton of force markers already on my Vanguard, depending on how many defensive triggers they did hit this turn, I would kind of put it right here like I just did. But if they hit a lot of defensive, maybe put it on your Vanguard. It's completely up to you. I would swing in. This should be lethal at this point. This is going to be like 4 damage, let's say they're at. I gave the critical trigger over there. I gave the draw trigger over there. we are going to swing in. This is 1, 2, 3 on there, so it's a 40k, 50k, 58k at my opponent's Vanguard. We're also going to give another additional 40k, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually another 50k to, I'm sorry, is this 1, 2, 3, yeah, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, on my Vanguard, so another 40k to my Daiyusha over here. Next up, let's swing, let's just assume they survive that, whatever. 1 drive check, boom, nothing, but we do have a grade 3. Let's say they PG'd that. I would counterblast and ping them for a damage, end of turn. That would get retire or tuck into soul, whatever it does. At the end of turn, puts into your soul, yep. Now it's going to be 23, at my opponent's Vanguard, whatever the case is. But, we counterblast, we ping them for a damage. And that should really end the turn for them overall, and that should really spell our victory overall. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. Definitely want to know your feedback on the deck, if you're running anything different, how you feel about the second lock skill. It is definitely possible in this deck if we want to, just not always our goal, and we don't really need to. The Twin Order kind of provides an insane amount of pressure overall. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Alex from Team Generations, signing out.